Good evening, everybody. Great to have you with us here tonight. I certainly don't want to begin tonight by upsetting the President of the United States. President Joe Biden is, in a sensitive mood, I'm told. But suddenly, I have to report, Michelle Obama seems to be everywhere. There are pretty pictures of her, weighty articles about her aspirations and her tremendous nature and experience. Showing up and video of President Obama and Michelle, everywhere, a lot of it. This isn't happenstance. Something's happening here, and it looks like Puppet Joe's Marxist masters could be considering maybe to possibly cut his strings. As my friend, New York Post columnist and WABC radio host Cindy Adams observed, Michelle is talking with New York hedge fund oligarchs and told them some time ago that she will be running. And the Obamas are nudging, it appears, Slow-Mo Joe, urging him to go. Lowest poll numbers in modern history for Joe. Not good for Joe. So we'll see. Stand by. It looks like the Obamas, they look like they just might be looking for a fourth term. Could it be the plan? And big news tonight as well from Georgia, where two of the president's nastiest persecutors have run into not inconsiderable political and legal jeopardy. We find George Soros's sponsored Fani Willis has paid her very special counsel $650,000 since taking the lead role on the case, and he is on track to make $1 million. Not bad for an attorney who's never tried a felony case, and that $1 million would make him the second highest paid employee in the state of Georgia, for the state of Georgia. Who is the highest paid, you might ask, who is the highest paid state employee? Well, he's a man by the name of Kirby Smart. He's the head coach of the University of Georgia's football team, and the Dogs have a real coach there. And we should note that Kirby, unlike the very special counselor, is talented and he is accomplished, which cannot be said of the highly paid, very special prosecutor. Wade used his earnings as lead special prosecutor to travel with his boss, District Attorney Fani Willis, while Wade left his financially struggling ex-wife and mother and 2 children at home to search for any means of financial support, that according to court documents. So that brings us to where we are tonight. Yesterday, a judge in Atlanta scheduled a hearing on February 15th, on the allegations against Willis and Nathan Wade. The hearing is to have Willis and Wade thrown off the case that was brought by them against one of Donald Trump's co-defendants in his RICO case. The judge is Scott McAfee of Fulton County Superior Court, appointed by Governor Brian Kemp, and he ordered Willis to file a written response to the motion by February 2nd and to appear at the hearing, which will be televised, just as all of the proceedings in this case have been. And what does Willis have to say about all of this? Well, Willis says these attacks against her are they're only coming because she's black. That's right. She has a whole deck of race cards. Newly obtained emails from the New York Times between Trump attorneys and Willis show Willis was telling defense attorneys that some people, quote unquote, will, quote, never be able to respect African Americans. We take up Willis and her very special counsel here tonight, and perhaps it's only fair that the question be asked, is the Willis case against President Trump race-based? I'll be talking with President Trump's senior advisor and former head of the National Diversity Council, Bruce Lavelle. Also tonight, the Gateway Pundit's founder and editor, Jim Hoft, former federal prosecutor, Joe DeGeneva. Stay with us. Much more straight ahead. We are now over a day away from that moment in which the government could be shut down. Congress has until just after midnight Saturday to pass a bill to fund the government. House Speaker Mike Johnson, once again on razor's edge, doing his best, it seems, to betray his own Republican colleagues in conference and the voters they represent. Johnson worked with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on a $1.6 trillion framework if you can call $1.6 trillion a framework, to fund the government. The deal does not secure the border. It does not stop the invasion orchestrated by the Biden regime and DHS Chief Alejandro Mayorkas. And by the way, the Biden regime itself, in league and in concert with the Mexican drug cartels to whom Joe Biden has turned over our border. The speaker was at the White House yesterday with the so-called congressional Big Four. Johnson was joined by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and his Senate counterparts Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell. The four met with Biden to talk about an immigration framework, another framework that is separate from the government funding bill. It looks like, once again, the Republicans are being taken for a ride by Biden, Schumer, Jeffries, and, of course, their own speaker. The details of the bill are still unclear. Well, that's not unintentional. And as we've told you, the bill would reportedly flood our country with millions more Democratic voters. They all look a little bit like illegal immigrants. It would also increase the amount of green cards by 50,000 a year. It would also grant immediate work permits to illegals who are released from custody while awaiting their court dates. Chuck Schumer emerged from that meeting declaring that Ukraine's borders were more important than America's, and that Ukraine and border funding must be passed together. Listen to this.
There was Democratic and Republican agreement that was essential we help Ukraine. We also talked about the border and how it's so important to deal with the border. The president himself said over and over again that he is willing to move forward on border. And so we said we have to do both. There were a couple of people in the room who said, let's do border first. We said we have to do both together.
Chuck Schumer, pure bull. Thankfully, Speaker Johnson appears to be growing a spine. Shortly after that White House meeting, Johnson cast doubt on any deal to pass immigration reform under the terms of Senator Langford, a rhino, a irresponsible rhino who has been a phony representative of the Oklahomans for a long time. Quote, "You can't do that quickly," said Johnson, and he's right. It's been years and years and years, and now McConnell wants it to be quick because this is about unity and all of the other bull that he spews. It doesn't stop Mitch McConnell. He's trying. Here he is talking in quavering voice about the unique opportunity to pass what amounts to amnesty.
If we had a 100% Republican government, President, House, Senate, we probably would not be able to get a single Democratic vote to pass what Senator Langford and the administration are trying to get together on. So this is a unique opportunity to accomplish something in divided government that wouldn't be there under unified government.
Joining us now, Pinal County Sheriff, Arizona Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate, Mark Lamb. Mark, great to have you with us here on Lou Dobbs Tonight. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Lou, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, it's our pleasure, and with all that is going on that 2,000-mile border that I maintain is owned, operated, and under the control of the Mexican drug cartels, it has to be the primary issue in any border state. Give us your sense of how bad it is right now in terms of both illegal immigration, deadly drugs, sex trafficking, and the impact on your state.
Lou, this is as bad as it's ever been. Yesterday, I sent my guys down there. My son actually went down. He was about 100 miles from anything close to it, right on the border. And what we saw was an encampment of military-age men, mostly from Africa, Syria. There's some other Middle Eastern countries, makeshift tents all over, trash all over, and a bunch of American NGOs down there, giving them all the aid they need and trying to protect them, telling my son he couldn't film down there. And my son said, screw it, I'm American, this is America, I'm going to film it. They also had prayer rugs down there facing to the east. So yeah, this is bad. It's really bad. I'm getting ready to post that video later today.
Well, that'll be that's great, and unfortunately, it's just rounding out what we already know that military age men, unaccompanied by children or women, are pouring into this country and have been doing so for 3 years. In point of fact, I have witnessed it myself. My wife and I watching a bus and a truck stop delivering those military age men in rank and file as they piled into a restaurant. There seems to be no real resistance whatsoever in the local communities. That's what I am stunned by. And the cartels right now, I think, own a lot of communities that are north of that border. Am I wrong?
Nope, you are exactly right, Lou. And I'm surprised too without the lack of American pushback. Part of it is because we're being broken financially as Americans as well. So a lot of people can't just leave their job and go down and make a statement. We've got all these NGOs that are being financially subsidized to help the cartels in their mission to traffic human beings and drugs. We spend a lot of our resources, Lou, with our helicopter and a bunch of other manpower going down and doing rescues every day for people that the cartels are leaving behind for dead in the deserts. Yeah. The list goes on of impacts. And I, like you, Lou, I'm shocked that the American people are not more active in this.
It is really, I think, the most disgusting aspect of this is that the people who really could, make a difference are sitting in Congress or the Senate. They're talking, they're saying all of the quote unquote right things and doing absolutely nothing. When Speaker Mike Johnson and about 60 legislators, congressmen, went down to the border, it was as if some of them, including Johnson, had for the first time understood there was a crisis at the border and could actually see what was happening, but still nothing happened as a result. It's appalling to me, and the fact that the Marxist Dems are aligned with the drug cartels has to be on the minds of every voter when they go to the polls, because this administration turned over this country to those Mexican drug cartels. This administration is responsible for child sex trafficking, for deadly drugs, 100,000 people a year being killed. We've lost 300,000 Americans to fentanyl alone over the course of the time since Biden has been president.
Absolutely. And I was very disappointed. I see these congressmen come down. They acknowledge that it's a problem. And I've seen it firsthand. When somebody comes, they know it's a problem, but when they see it firsthand, they realize the problem is at least 10 times worse than what they thought. But then Congress turns right back around, goes back, and they work with the Democrats to come up with to give our power away, which was our power of the purse, to give that to them. And now we got Republicans that are saying, hey, let's take 5,000 people a day. What they've done, Lou, is they've shifted the Overton window on the American people, whether it's finances, gas prices. They've shifted the Overton window on what the border is. And it's sad to watch as an American. And that's why I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I can no longer stand by. There's only so much I can do as a sheriff. This fight has to be had in Washington. That's why I'm going back to do it.
Let me say this, that stronger voices are needed, but stronger spines are desperately needed in that Senate and the House as well. I don't know right now how many people are running who will have the capacity that you do to understand both the problem and experience the problem, and also to stand up for the American people. We need all we can get. Sheriff Mark Lamb, thanks for being with us here on Lou Dobbs Tonight. We look forward to our next conversation. Well, when the system fails to maintain law and order, we are compelled to take matters into our own hands to protect ourselves and others, and that is exactly what happened with Daniel Penny in New York last year. Penny, a Marine veteran, killed a mentally disturbed homeless man named Jordan Neely on the subway. Penny insists it was unintentional. Neely was menacing passengers. Witnesses stated that Neely lunged at people, threatening them, saying things like, "Someone is going to die today." When it seemed Neely was about to hurt a rider, Penny took things into his own hands, took Neely to the ground, placed him in a chokehold, and terrified witnesses called Penny a hero. But Neely died during the altercation, and Penny has been fighting for his freedom ever since in New York. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office charged Penny with second-degree manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide Wednesday, and a judge denied the motion to dismiss this case filed by Penny's attorneys. The Marxist left, and let me tell you, Manhattan is ground zero for the Marxist left. They naturally focused on the racial dynamics of the case. Penny is white, Neely black. That's all they see. It's all they can see, and it blinds them to the real tragedy of this story and the real responsibility for what happened. Neely should never have been on the subway or the streets. Mentally disturbed, a man with a history of violence. In 2021, he attacked a 67-year-old woman in Lower Manhattan, gave her a broken nose and fractured orbital bone. Neely would at least still be alive if New York City had kept him behind bars and actually patrolled those subways and maintained law and order. But the Marxist Dems have turned the city over, those streets over, to thugs and criminals and the mentally ill. Likewise, Penny would not have been in that fateful position last year, and this Eric Adams police force and this Eric Adams city, well, he deserves much of the blame, but will he assume it? Of course not. The system that failed and made this tragedy possible has, well, imprisoned Penny, and the same system is more concerned with housing illegal immigrants in New York than teaching kids that they displace from their schools so illegal immigrants can be sheltered there. It is the very definition of anarchy and tyranny. Anarchy for the criminal element, tyranny for the rest of us. And it is either in or coming to a city near you, no matter how large or small. Well, do you use Zelle to make payments? Are you a Trump supporter? Well, if you answered yes to either question, the House Judiciary Select Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government has bad news, revealing that the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network urged financial institutions to comb through customer transactions after the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. The network, a bureau of the Treasury Department now, and according to the Bureau, recommended financial institutions use terms like Trump and MAGA in their searches and flag transactions. A tweet by the subcommittee stated this: individuals who shopped at stores like Cabela's, Dick's Sporting Goods, or purchase religious texts like, say, the Bible, may also have their transactions flagged by the federal government as well. Folks, tell your congressman, tell your senator to end this nonsense, this sweeping invasion of privacy on the part of this weaponized government in which we are the targets. All of this supposedly done to prevent terrorism. That is pure bunkum. We all know how this is turning out. No such measures have been taken after the Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020. Those riots, of course, were the most destructive in modern history, and yet pictures of FBI agents kneeling in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter protesters. FBI insiders told the agents who kneeled were later actually rewarded, and they flew a few Black Lives Matter flags as the riots raged. So did a U.S. naval base in Africa. It's normal to want to call this unfair. That would miss the point a bit. There is a hierarchy in the country, and it puts the people Barack Obama characterized as bitterly clinging to Bibles and their guns at the very bottom. Those who raise cities and hate this country and hate America are closer to the top. Up next, globalist Klaus Schwab imagines a world where in 10 years everyone will have a chip implanted in their brain. There will be no elections. Founder and editor of the Gateway pundit Jim Hoft joins us to weigh in on Schwab's comments at the World Economic Forum, where the elite meet. We'll be right back.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
Well, masters of the globalist elites gathering in Davos this week, World Economic Forum founder and chairman Klaus Schwab showing his true, authoritarian, perhaps totalitarian colors, making this bone-chilling comment during an interview with Google co-founder Sergey Brin. Listen to this.
The technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Extraordinary. And now here is the Gateway Pundit's founder, chief editor, and great American, Jim Hoff. Jim, a remarkable story in the Gateway Pundit. Your reaction, I have never seen in one piece of sound more evidence of elitism and the evil that surrounds even the word. Your thoughts about what we just heard from Klaus Schwab, the founder, the CEO of the World Economic Forum.
Well, Lou, thanks for having me on, and congratulations on your new show. And this was shocking. This video here that was posted online yesterday from Rebel News out of Canada. And the theme this year, what they wanted to do at the World Economic Forum was there's people who are actually saying the truth out loud, and that is that they're losing the people. And so they're losing the trust of the people. So what do they do next? Klaus Schwab comes out and says, we're going to get rid of elections. So I don't know if that's going to really build trust with the peoples, in Europe, in the United States, in Canada, Australia. But that's what they're pushing right now. It's sort of like, I would say, maybe that's a dream for some of the elites, but certainly the people, that's a nightmare, for our future, if that's what they're planning on.
What they're planning on. And I love the way in which he just sort of professorially and arrogantly started talking about suddenly it'll be prescriptive. You don't need any analysis. You don't really need to draw any opinion or viewpoint from the people. The arrogance is stifling. It is overwhelming. And to think that these elites, some of the wealthiest oligarchs in the world, some of the biggest corporations, many of them convening at Davos, Switzerland, to listen to this guy talk about the future and try to design it from, if you will, the very top down. This is such an anti-democratic, such an anti-American grouping of elitists that I rankle at the very thought of their arrogance and their indifference to, first of all, America, our Constitution, and our way of life. I mean, I'm furious. I have to tell you, Jim, I am absolutely furious at this. What has been the reaction of your readers and your listeners?
Oh, I think our readers are finding this is typical with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. This is what this is their plan all along. It's complete domination. It's complete power over the people. This isn't democracy that they're pushing. This is or fair elections, free elections. They don't want elections. They want the computers to decide now. And who gets to program the computers? So it's a frightening, very frightening interview that he had with the co-founder of Google. And I hope people pay attention to this, because this is our future if we don't stand up and do something about it.
Yeah. You're exactly right, and we're going to be taking this issue up. We're not going to we are committed to daily coverage of this massive ignorance on the part of our elites, so-called. President Trump doesn't like to call them elites, but the fact is they are the elites, at least in their own minds and in our own language, because they have so much money, so much power. And how Americans ever let so few people get so much power in our society. Our founders would be absolutely appalled. Every American should be disgusted with what's going on in this country. But let's turn to Elise Stefanik. Now her name is being bandied about as President Trump's running mate. What do you think?
That would be an acceptable pick to me. I'm surprised. I think that's an interesting. I wouldn't expect that. Certainly. I favor some other candidates. I love Carrie Lake. She's phenomenal. I love some of the other Republicans out there. But Elise might be an option that I think I could approve of. But we'll see. President Trump did say just a week or so ago that he had picked his vice president. And he said that during an interview or at a conference. And so maybe it's Elise. That's interesting. I do notice that the left is going after her pretty hard the past few days. In fact, one of the Democrats wants to censure her for defending the January 6th prisoners, right? These people who've been in prison now, some of them for years without trial. So good for Elise.
Yeah. I think every congressman, every senator, every one of these left-wing nut jobs should be prosecuted for thinking it's okay to put Americans in prison for 3 years who've done nothing, who have never had a trial, and who are haven't even got a trial date set. These are the most ignorant and vile left us in our country's history. Never have we had a situation like this in the country. And Dan Goldman, I mean, to hear him talking in the Department of Homeland Security committee's setting as they're trying to impeach Mayorkas, to listen to his ignorance and his just twisting snake-like presence is just, I mean, it's horrible. It's just vicious to hear his nonsense, don't you think?
No, I think he's not alone there, Lou. I think there's several of the Democrats who are doing similar things. I actually was impressed with Dan Goldman before. Maybe it's because the media had propped him.
So was I.
They had propped him up so much, but now I'm like, not very impressive person. His ideas don't make a lot of sense. He doesn't strike me as someone who's particularly brilliant. It's certainly what the Democrats have and the media have propped him up to be.
Well, and it's what the Marxist Dems, Hakeem Jeffries, what they've propped him up to be. He's the hitman, and at any cost to his integrity, he's fulfilling that role. It's awful to see, and it's just disgusting. Adam Schiff, what they've become, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, good grief, what they've become is horrible. So let's talk about a couple of developments, and that is, speaking of January 6th, we hear reports that they've turned off, they being the Bureau of Prisons, have turned off the heat to hundreds of these prisoners. What do you know about that, and what is going on right now with anyone trying to get these poor victims of this ideological war between the left and the right in this country? They're hostages, for crying out loud, and no better.
Oh, absolutely, Lou. Thanks for describing it that way, because that's exactly what's happening. I did speak with one prisoner last night, Mark, in the D.C. Gulag, the branch of the prison for all of these January 6th prisoners are being held. And he did say that the heat was off. He said that earlier in December, they had blasted the heat in this part of the prison. It was sweltering, he said. But now, as soon as it got cold, the heat is off, and the hot water is off. And that's what he told me. And I also had confirmation from two other prisoners who I had some notes from, who had wrote me and said the same thing. So these guys up there, and I also heard from Mark, they're not handing out blankets to these guys. They're just 55 degrees is what I was told. And so this is just more, like you said, they're treating these people like worse than you would expect for any prisoner in this country. I don't care who they are. This is unacceptable, and I am shocked that this is going on in America, let alone our nation's capital. And as you said, Lou, it's been 3 years. Are any of these guys, did they commit crimes that are this vicious that they should be held for 3 years? It's a complete double standard. We saw what the left did in 2020 when they caused up to $2 billion, over $1 billion of damage across the country. People dead, cops attacked every night. And compare that to these men and women who are in prison today for fighting back against the police that day. That's how I describe it. If you watched the video, you saw what happened. It's horrific that
they were defending other protesters from police that frankly had lost discipline and control of themselves. It's outrageous what happened that day. If we can ever get these videos out, the Speaker of the House said he was going to do it. He needs to make it a campaign, put money and people and resources behind the effort and make sure it happens, and take no nonsense, just no nonsense from the Department of Justice or their accomplices in the judiciary. It should be now a full-on priority effort on the part of the House of Representatives. Jim Hoff, the Gateway Pundit, thanks for being with us, as always. Appreciate it, Jim.
Thank you, Lou.
President Trump in New York City today, sitting through another court hearing. The president seeming to spend a lot of time in court, and that, of course, is by design of the Marxist Dems and the Biden regime. They mean to interfere with this election, and particularly the candidacy of Donald Trump. The hearing all about Carol's second lawsuit against President Trump, one of the many Marxist campaigns waged against President 45. Former attorney for President Trump, Joe DeGenova, joins us here next to take all of this up and more.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
Carol, a former writer and journalist, already won $5 million in her defamation lawsuit against President Trump last year. Now she's seeking further damages and is suing Trump once again. The jury's set to decide just how much President Trump will owe Carol, as a previous jury has already found the former president guilty of defamation. The president's supporters in the MAGA base are accusing the federal judge in this case, a Clinton appointee by the name of Lewis Kaplan, as, they think he's anti-Trump, tremendously biased, and for some pretty good reasons. Last week, Judge Kaplan refused to reschedule proceedings to allow the former president to attend his mother-in-law's funeral. This judge is just like so many others that afflict President Trump. He is, just a little unstable, I think, but who knows? And yesterday, Kaplan threatened to kick President Trump out of the courtroom after attorneys for Carol complained that President Trump was repeatedly stating that the trial is a witch hunt. truth hurts, I suppose, especially in courtrooms. Judge Kaplan stated that Trump's right to be present in that courtroom, quote, can be forfeited, and it can be forfeited if he is disruptive, which is what has been reported to me. In other words, Judge Kaplan was willing to kick President Trump out of the courtroom because E. Jean Carroll's lawyers were complaining about him. I think that's a little biased, don't you think? And Kaplan also rushed to the plaintiff's defense when she admitted to deleting emails that were ordered to be preserved under a subpoena. She's destroying evidence. And according to a reporter named Matthew Russell Lee, President Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, was able to get Carroll to admit she deleted her emails because she, quote, didn't want to upset her attorneys. Habba immediately moved to a mistrial, citing deleted evidence, but Kaplan, Judge Kaplan, you know, Mr. Fair and honest and impartial, immediately shot her down and told the jury to disregard all of that stuff about destroying evidence, everything that Habba had questioned regarding Carroll's emails and, of course, the law. Well, on Truth Social, President Trump called Carroll deleting her emails, quote, a crime. And joining us to assess all of this, the case against President Trump, Joe DeGeneva. He's a former U.S. attorney, also served as President Trump's attorney during the Mueller investigation, and joins us tonight. And Joe, great to see you once again. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, Lou, and great to see you. Congratulations on your new show.
Well, thank you. Great to see you, and thanks for being here. Let's start with this Carroll case. No witnesses 30 years ago. No one seems to have seen anything, heard anything, but yet the court managed to get a guilty plea. Your thoughts about the case, the evidence, and whether or not justice is being served when it comes to the president here in this case?
Well, justice certainly isn't being served. There's no question about that, because the only reason this case exists is because the New York State legislature enacted a law to rejuvenate dead cases, to reestablish a statute of limitations for certain civil matters which could no longer be brought. And one of the reasons you have a statute of limitations is because if you don't bring a case within a relatively reasonable period of time, evidence can be forgotten, people's memories fade, evidence can be destroyed by accident because people don't think they need it anymore, witnesses die, and that's exactly what happened in this case. By the way, the judge in this case, Judge Kaplan, you have appropriately identified his attitude. It is one of animus. He clearly has an animus toward Donald Trump, and it has infected these proceedings. And I think the judge has committed multiple errors which will require reversal on appeal if Donald Trump is able to get a fair panel in the Second Circuit. I think this proceeding is a constitutional disgrace. It never should have been brought. And I think not only the president's case, but all the other cases that have been brought by individuals against mostly men for alleged sexual assault, all of those cases should be thrown out. I think the extension of this statute of limitation denied due process, which is obvious in this case, where E. Jean Carroll admitted to deleting emails. Right. I mean, this is simply unbelievable what's happened in this proceeding.
Yeah, in this proceeding, and as you say, and just across the law right now, there is a reign of terror in the legal system, and it's being waged by the Marxists who make up the leadership, really, of the legal profession, it seems to me. And I'm speaking only for myself, not for you, obviously, Joe. But I mean, we've got Marxist values being inculcated in our law schools, before that in universities and colleges. I had, a number of people have said to me right now, 90% of the practicing attorneys are basically left-wing, outright Marxists in many cases. And I don't know, and look at the D.C. court system. How in the world does anyone who isn't a Marxist or a Dem, and by the way, most of us are either independents or Republicans, get a fair trial?
Well, they're certainly not going to get a fair trial in the District of Columbia if they are a Republican. And the record is very, very solid on that, starting with Scooter Libby, where the foreman of the jury, after the case was decided, went out in front of the courthouse and said, "We were very disappointed that the real defendant in this case, Vice President Cheney, wasn't in the courtroom." I must say that that should have been grounds for having the entire case against Scooter Libby thrown out, so he wouldn't have needed a pardon from President Trump. But the problem with it is that all of the jurors in the District of Columbia, they're overwhelmingly almost all Democratic. They have an animus toward President Trump, and they have an animus toward Republicans. The truth is, a Republican cannot get a fair trial in the District of Columbia, and the judges in the federal courthouse there have done a terrible job of selecting jurors and trying to weed out those with prejudice. All of these cases should be moved to other jurisdictions through a change of venue, but the judges have great discretion in that regard and would never do that. So I think, Lou, what we are watching is something that started basically 50 years ago when the Marxists started infiltrating the educational system from kindergarten through graduate schools and basically trained a group of kids and basically brainwashed them with Marxism and created what we are now seeing. The professionals we go to, the people we talk to, the people on television, in the media, in the legal profession, you name it, medicine. When you watch what's happening in all of those professions, you see a kind of illogic and a kind of strange philosophy which defies logic and rationality. And that's why it's called Marxism.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. And specifically the legal profession.
Yes.
There's no countervailing influence within the legal profession at all. Big law, the major, largest firms with obviously the largest billings, they are frankly terrified of anyone that would be associated with President Trump or President Trump, any one of his supporters or staff members in his administration. They'll turn their backs in a hurry because they don't want to lose those billings from corporate America, which has also gone through CRT, critical race theory, ESG, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. All of these Marxist handles for concepts that are anti-American, anti-law, and certainly destructive of this great constitutional republic. Let me ask you a question. How many people do you know who actually have the guts to say that this country right now has turned Marxist in terms of its government, education, the legal profession, you name it? How many people really have the guts to say that our media is Marxist right now?
Well, very few. I would agree with you on that. My friends and family all know it and say it and talk about it. But the truth is, the American people are slowly beginning to realize it. They may not be talking about it and yelling about it, but they are absorbing it. And I think what they have gone through with the Biden administration, which will go down in history as perhaps the worst single administration in history for law enforcement, national defense, energy, you name it. These guys have squandered the wonderful, wonderful treasure of this country, both people and physical assets of this country, because of a rampant leftist, far leftist philosophy, which is akin to Marxism. They would never think of themselves as Marxists. They would call themselves progressives and think that they're doing only what is good for the people. But in fact, what they're doing is they are denying people constitutional rights. And all you have to do is look at the Justice Department to see what a mess Merrick Garland and the President of the United States have made of federal judicial law enforcement. It is a national disgrace.
It is a national disgrace, and we have hundreds of Americans, the hostages of January 6th, still in jail without trials, many of them without even a trial date set. It's a blight on the legal profession, on this great country, that we have tolerated such a legal system. I don't know how we turn it but I do know the only man that I know of who could lead the country and reverse what has been a occupation of this government by the Marxist Dems. They own the federal government, they own education, media, as you said, and now most of, I think, big business as well, and certainly Wall Street. Joe, we give you the last word here. Joe DeGenevieve, it's great to have you with us. Your concluding thoughts.
Well, I just think that what our conversation underscores, Lou, is that this election coming up in November of 2024 is, in fact, the election of our generation. We have to stop the bleeding. We have to save the patient. The Democrats believe you have to destroy democracy in order to save it. The Republicans and conservatives believe you simply have to save democracy. The only way to do that is turn Joe Biden out of office, or whoever the Democratic nominee is, install a Republican president and a Republican Congress, and start to put this country back on the right track.
And Godspeed. Thank you so much, Joe. We appreciate it, and great to see you. Thank you, and best to Victoria. Up next, the Marxist Democrats are terrified of President Trump winning back the White House. They're terrified they may have to replace Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee and, well, put in there Michelle Obama, next woman up. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all My Towels. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Joe Biden's re-election is in trouble, a lot of trouble, in fact. His approval ratings are the lowest in modern presidential history, and the Democrat Party is panicking. Are they really going to risk going down with Joe Biden? Some people don't think so. How does Madam President Obama sound to you? It's one possible reality that seems more, well, realistic by the day. Michelle has been eager to follow in the footsteps of Barack for a while now, we're told. She reportedly met with CEOs in 2022 to ask for their support. Michelle Obama isn't the only possible alternative, however. Many suspect California Governor Gavin Newsom just might be ready to replace Biden, but Newsom has, well, a millstone or two around his neck. California has been completely mismanaged under his watch, and the only thing that's certain is the Democratic Party is starting to realize that President Trump's return to the White House is at this moment inevitable, all thanks to Joe Biden's endless blundering and the leadership of whoever those Marxist Dems are that are in charge of the Democratic Party and the Biden regime, because let's face it, it's not Joe Biden. He is nothing more than a puppet. Let's bring in former senior advisor to President Donald J. Trump, former SBA advocate for the White House, Bruce Lavelle. Bruce, good to have you with us. We look forward to this discussion.
Thanks for having me, Lou. Good to see you. It's been a while, man, since the other network.
It has been a while. And there you go. There you go. Bruce, let's start with, first of all, the prospects here. President Trump is just crushing the poll numbers. He has an amazing lead over, you name it, Nikki Haley, DeSantis, both of them the great corporate hopes, if you will, for the establishment and donor class. Neither one seemed to make it. What do you think? Does Joe Biden suddenly get pushed out here?
You know, it's interesting. You know, I actually have a first cousin that went to law school with Barack Obama at Harvard. She's a practicing professor now at an unnamed university for the sake of protecting her. But you know, the buzz about Michelle coming in the race and everything, she is not going to do that. There's just no way to risk all the other extra baggage that was not revealed when her husband was in office, and we haven't even worked on her baggage. So that's absolutely out. I think what's happening is they're really relying on these fake indictments as their savior. I don't think Newsom, out of loyalty, sees the light of just sitting back, as they call it, in the bullpen, you know, at a baseball game, waiting for the manager to come up and call him up. I think his loyalty to the donor base that's linked to Biden would look at the 2028 in the event of something, you know, catastrophic unfortunately happened to President Biden at this time. So I don't see Michelle getting in number one, little intel there, but also once again, their ace in the hole, I think, is either they think it's Jack Smith or the fake Letitia Peekaboo James, or the as I'm here in Fulton County, the fake Fani Willis, or the Jean Carroll, or whatever they're trying to throw is they're trying to hedge their bets on.
And as you look at what is happening in Fulton County, I mean, that has blown up in the face of Fani Willis and of course the White House. The White House making sure the Justice Department sent them $14 million in grants, and they made sure she and her very special counsel, I'll put it that way, going on lavish vacations, extravagant spending, and at the same time paying him a small fortune, particularly since he had even smaller experience in felony trials, that is zero. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm here in Fulton County. My main home is here. I do share another residence in St. Pete, Florida. However, I got here in '88, been here a long time, built a very successful business, became very wealthy here in Georgia, thankful for Georgia. You know, one thing about Fani Willis, and this is for all your viewers here to pay very close attention to who's trying to be your solicitor, your district attorney in your community, your state rep, your Superior Court judge, probate, et cetera, down the line, Lou. And one of the things, remember now, just a backstory, you know, Fani is from Inglewood, California. Okay, it was born and raised there and lived her adult life in urban city of DC, and is recently a new, as we say, resident here in Georgia. And one of the things to look out for, and this is not just Atlanta, these are other urban cities across the country. This has been going on for a few years, where it's a strategic plan on getting key, quote, candidates that are going to weigh as they say, the funders, their special interest way. So it's not just Atlanta, it's in Oakland, it's in New York, it's all across the country. We all know that. So
are you talking about George Soros? Because that's she's sponsored in part by George Soros. And most of the DAs that are having disasters on their hands right now are George Soros DAs. Whether it's the result, I mean, the result is tremendous crime waves, whether it is scandal, you name it. He has backed these DAs for reasons entirely other than their, let's put it this way, their level of achievement or their potential.
Yeah, and Lou, it's even deeper. They actually go after city council seats also, because remember, they need control of these urban cities also. So they need more favor on what they want to vote their way, et cetera, whether it be some some liberal ideology on housing. You saw what Biden pushed on cutting back where quote affordable housing can go in suburban, and blah 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 blah. So anyway, it's actually more strategic, but there are not just Soros, there's many more like him. So this is the thing, and real quick too, when we're on the Fani Willis here in Fulton County, remember 92% of her fundraising came from outside of Fulton County. Now, Fulton County comprises of about 1 million residents, okay? And so only 8% of her fundraising came from, so that should tell you right there on what we're
Bruce,
doing.
if I didn't know better, I'd swear you're trying to disown her, to disclaim her, to to remind she's really not part of Fulton County or the,
She's not a
the
Georgia,
great state of Georgia.
She's not a Southern.
So
she probably Lucy
I
wouldn't
got
know what grits were if you put a name on it. She wouldn't know what the grits were.
But you're not going to be able to disavow her for a little while, because now there's a hearing and they're going into, and by the way, I have to get your reaction to this. She goes to her church and she basically confesses to all of the allegations about her relationship with her very special counsel, a very special prosecutor who'd never tried a felony case. They spent money on lavish vacations, going off together. He leaves his family in financial trouble. His wife, the mother, 2 kids. I mean, this guy is in real trouble as a result of what they decided to do. And I can't figure out how in the world this doesn't affect the prosecutions that she's undertaken. It's outrageous.
Well, the other thing too, Commissioner Bob Ellis, good friend of mine, and Bridget Thorne, the commissioners, quote, in Fulton County that that approved budgets way back. Our situation with our jail, and in fact, the DOJ is investigating Fulton County Jail. There's a backlog of cases that need to be tried since 2019. It's such a disaster. She's only tried from last year to date 67 cases, where a lot of municipalities and other counties will do 60 in 1 month. Yes, a whole year, right. Lou. We've had inmates who've died of bed bugs. We've had, a seriousness that's going on, what's affecting. But real quick, I'm a business owner here, retail commodities. I've had a jewelry company for many years in real estate. I have other friends of car dealership ownerships and other big businesses here in Atlanta. Now they're starting to say, listen, we're starting to get a dark cloud over our city. So now we're affecting, our money stream. We're affecting, our businesses. Like, listen, do we want a reputation of a rogue DA? What does that do for commerce and tourism, Lou? What's that do for potential homeowners wanting to come here in northern Fulton and Milton and want to buy a home? So it's starting to get a reputation of a bad place.
Well, Fulton County is a special place. As a matter of fact, my wife and I lived in Alpharetta, north of Atlanta, for a number of years. We're very fond of Georgia and the great people there. The issue that comes up as well, Fannie Willis going to her church and basically playing the race card, and worse than that, saying, famously making a remark that I thought was derogatory of black women, and she did that as well. I would have to think that I was going to say a disgrace. I don't know if that's even a serviceable word in this day and age, but she is an embarrassment to Fulton County, and I can't even imagine why anybody would want to keep her in office, let alone in any way condone the way she ran her office as district attorney.
Well, you're talking about Big Bethel, AME, and Lou, I know all the top really big pastors in Atlanta of big congregations, et cetera. I will tell you, on a situation like this, when you're caught in a pickle, the best thing to do is run to, quote, the church and yell, "They're treating me bad because of my race." We question your ethics, and as it relates to the appearance of impropriety with Mr. Wade, who filed for divorce, right, or finalized divorce the day before he went over and got that $600,000 contract. So, and real quick, while we're on this note with Wade and Fannie Willis, Lou, right now,
very quickly, if you would.
They're looking at the annual leave, the sick time leaves that she's been a county employee, and also waiting for his disclaimer as it relates to where those times that she was off. We already know they went on a cruise, but watch when all that 100% matches. That shows the appearance of impropriety. And real quick, there is a bar inquiry right now that they're trying to file on the state Georgia Bar of Ethics that they have to respond by law. So, listen, all this will come to light. I'm very optimistic that this phone call that the president's being charged with of challenging the election, asking questions, which the First Amendment right, all this is going to play out. We just got to get through it, Lou.
Yeah. Well, I can play it out right here for you. That's a bunch of bull, and everybody knows it, and it's politically motivated, and you know it, and so do the good people of Georgia and Fulton County. Bruce, great to have you with us. Thanks so much, and
thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah,
Come
God
back
bless.
soon.
Thank you.
Well, God bless you. Tune in for tomorrow's show, 7 o'clock Eastern, of course, award-winning, and 6 Central, award-winning journalist, author of the New York Times bestseller Breakthrough, founder and former president of Project Veritas, James O'Keefe joins us. We'll be talking with him about what he's been up to after his dramatic exit from Project Veritas. The Mike Lindell Show is coming up here next, and Mike has treat after treat for you and some really interesting items that I'm sure you'll want to buy. I'm going to bet on that. Mike Lindell is next. God bless you. Good night.
Hello, everybody. Right into the Lindell Report. That's called a little weird handoff there, huh, Brandon?
It is. And by the way, we're going to take calls, 901-316-8404. Get on board right now. We're going to take your calls, your questions, your comments for Mike Lindell. 901-316-8404. 901-316-8404.
Right on. And you guys,